So dLocal, we do payments. Now it's emerging markets. Historically, we started out of Brazil, then Latin America, and then emerging markets. I think it's an interesting story because companies out of Latin America can build global companies. So that's something we wouldn't have hoped or thought 4 or 5 years back when we started. So what we do is we help international companies sell and get paid in emerging markets. So that means end users in India or in Brazil or in Mexico or in Argentina want to use local payment methods or want to get paid to their local bank accounts. So to some extent, we are the infrastructure player, the API layer that makes sure that those users manage to pay with their preferred payment method. Latin America is booming. We see it not only about us, you see other companies here building Latin American operations. We've had the chance to see how merchants think. We are a pure B2B play, so we, for the most part, depend on the Amazons and Facebooks and Netflix of this world to tell us how they want to expand into these markets. And we've seen that again and again, these markets are becoming more of a priority. They're making sure that they're really catering to the end user, making sure that that user gets to pay with their preferred payment method, and that's essentially the role we play. The underlying challenge is exactly the same for a pay-in or a payout. Merchants, there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of regulation around how to handle payments. One can solve it, a given merchant can solve it in one market, so they can go and say, okay, I'm going to build an operation in Brazil and I'm going to solve this market. But when you start thinking of 15, 20 emerging markets that might include Egypt and Nigeria, Turkey and Uruguay and Paraguay, it just becomes impossible for them to handle that. So what we've seen is that the business models more and more require both things to happen. Today, something like 95% of our customers do pay-ins and payouts, which essentially means that they are bringing funds and set funds to their users. So that's a trend we've seen. It's something that just wasn't there when we started. Wonderful. Payments is not a business that you can throw money to the problem every single time and things will happen. You see that there are a lot of very big payments companies that have taken very little capital from the outside world. It's not B2C that you can say, okay, I'm going to come with all these $1 million and I'm going to solve every single problem. So some things take time. And the challenge we see is, okay, are we going to have the right team? Are we going to be able to scale that team to make sure that we are up to pace and up to speed in 15 markets? For us, it's not. When we first thought, okay, now we are ready in Latin America, we decided to expand to India, and India opened a whole new set of challenges. And then Africa came, and Africa, it's a whole different world. So the key challenge we see is, okay, how are we gonna build the team to make sure we can support that growth across many geographies, across many merchants? That's what keeps me up at night.